And we're back. FaceTime Fighters. Got another guest on today, a very esteemed guest. Obviously, I know you very well, but for the people that don't know you, introduce yourself, your fighter status, and where you're from.
Hello, everyone. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm Conrad Cummings, former two-time European middleweight champion, five-time Irish national champion, now retired professional boxing coach. That's a little bit about me.
Yeah, very,
Did many
very good fight.
me and Oren did many rounds sparring
Many
back in the
rounds.
day.
Very good fighter, Conrad. Very good fighter. Right, Conrad, we're going to get straight into it. We're going to go with a somewhat deep question to start with. What's the biggest lesson that you learned from boxing?
Good question. Everyone is in it for themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a negative way, but
No, I get you. I get
when
you.
I turned professional, I was a bit naive. Promised the moon and stars. Didn't know what else. Once again, non-negative. Had a great career, lived my dream till an extent. But it's full of sharks, full of
Yeah.
absolute sharks, and full of liars. But
Yeah.
listen, it's also good, lots of good guys too. But
Yeah, you meet a lot of good people.
uh, you like yourself, but you meet a lot of dickheads too.
100%.
excuse,
I'm
excuse my language.
no, I remember somebody always told me that amateur boxing is a sport, professional boxing is a business. It's not a sport, and I think that's 100% true.
Well, I was told, Lauren, it was sort of like, yes, like amateur boxing, obviously, sport professional is half business, half sport, but it's just a business.
Yeah,
It's nothing else. Uh, but there's lots of good guys, but there's a lot of snakes.
definitely. Right, Comrade, I want to ask you, give me one fighter in history that you would fight for free just for pride. It could be historical fighter. It could be someone that you didn't like, that you didn't actually get to fight in your career.
Well, that's
Anyone.
that's a tough question. Like, do I pick someone that can beat up, or is it so? uh, Uh, Brian McGuigan, because I think we'd chill him.
Yeah. Hey, you might have to meet at a catch weight. You might have to lose one of your
But
legs.
yeah,
You might
yeah,
have to lose
he,
one of your legs to make it happen.
he's worth champion, so we can try to catch him.
Yeah. Right, Conrad. Obviously, you're retired now. So I was going to ask you, what's a moment that made you nearly walk away from the sport, or what actually made you walk away from the sport in the end?
Good question. Professional boxing once again business, but it's all about timing. I was European champion, number 13 in the world. Was due to co-headline Solar SS Arena in Belfast. Sort of like my moment of really coming out
Yeah,
party. I,
that's it.
I wouldn't have put me top 10 in the world. I was fighting a Polish champion again. I would have been very confident. I would have beat the 13-week camp in London. A lot of money. Gutierrez, the main event's opponent, Pure Problem's opponent. He slipped in the shower.
I remember that. I remember that one when he slipped in the
Yeah,
shower. Yeah,
couldn't have made it up. Broke his teeth, knocked himself out. To this day, still scratching my head. Anyway, out of the ring, I had a couple of keep as E fight 6 rounders. No, not hard fights. Not that I was out then fights.
yeah,
I've competitive fights for 15 months in court with my ex manager. Uh, Time slipped away. That moment, around then, like was talks of fighting Saunders. I was in the cusp of big fights, and I missed the boat.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, uh, Luke Keeler beat me, Fern Square, stuff in the
Very,
background.
very
Didn't
good
have
fights they were.
very good fights. Father Time ticked on and won the European title again against the Hungarian champion, Frankie Bertrick. I can't remember his name, but couldn't quite get back the dynamite it once was. Father Time played his toll
Yeah,
and missed my opportunity for big fights. But listen, I had big fights, but the big paydays.
yeah. That's it. That's it. The big fights, but the big paydays need to come
Yeah,
with them.
yeah.
Comrade, what's the biggest lie that fighters tell on fight week?
Oh, that's a good one. There's
You
not
know,
many names.
everyone says I've had the best camp of my life. Training ain't gone better. What's the biggest lie they tell on fight week?
What's the biggest? You tell a few. Biggest lie. Uh, me, me personally towards the end, it was my weight. You know, I went for 160, and I
Yep,
used to say,
that was me as well. It was always the
I say,
weight. How's your weight?
what? I say I'm 164. I was like 175.
Yeah. For me, it was the same thing. It was always the weight. Aaron, how's your weight? Yeah, no, my weight's good. My weight, step on the scales, and then I'll quickly nip off to the toilet and then hope they forget. Yeah.
That was few, but made had a few, bit of a crap. You've lost a couple of weeks in camp. Oh yeah, Cash, brilliant camp. Every day was better. We get smashed last couple of sports.
Yeah, man. Right, Conrad, have you ever taken a fight that you weren't ready for? If so, then why? And what happened in the fight?
Oh, good. That's a ver- Never mind the killer fight. The lost killer the second time, Fern Square for personal stuff. The time was back. Personal issues were going on with a few things. Uh, Left my trainer. Life is a bit sketchy, so to speak.
Yeah,
Few issues going on. Hadn't put on a lot of weight. Went to America to visit my brother. Put on a lot of weight. I think I got up to like 190.
yeah. There's nothing to do over
Uh,
there other than eat, really. Yeah, just eat.
I need to go back. I'm not gonna mention his name. Rang me. I don't know if Danny Dignam here. I hadn't fought in 10 months. I was fought as a fool. I just lost to the killer.
Yeah,
Ah, aye.
yeah,
Eight weeks. Got to it off. Didn't perform last fight. Should have took it? No. Do I got it? No. I said, no, I'm a
yeah.
fighter.
It is what it is.
I was due to come back after the pandemic, but once again, the clock ticked away and time is up. Time is to walk out with my health, I think.
Yeah, that's it, man. And you got a lovely family now as well, so
Thank
you
you,
have to
bro.
protect that. Right, Conrad. What's the hardest you've ever been hit? Amateur, pro, sparring, hardest you've ever been hit.
Well, lad.
You don't you
Good
don't
lad.
have you don't have to
Good
name the
lad.
person. You don't have to name the person,
No, no,
but the
no, no,
circumstances.
no. I'm gonna put to be honest. Uh, um, we did many rounds. You may say it was. I wouldn't say it was a brawler because it wasn't a box for Ireland. That was Irish salmon. There was
No,
a bit of
very,
method.
very, very good boxer. Very
There was there was
underrated
there was
boxer.
there was method in my madness. I was put a lot of pressure on. Uh, I remember fighting the world series of boxing in the semi-final against Sergey Derevyanchenko.
Yeah,
A quality fighter, a fighter that should have been
very
world
good.
champion.
Very good.
And I remember my coach at the time and my father saying, "You can't just walk this kid down. He's a big puncher." And but in my stupid head, I was thinking I was thinking 73 kilo, but I boxed 75 as an amateur, which is basically super middle.
Yeah,
And I was thinking, "No, I'm massive at weight now. I can walk anyone down." So walks him down first round, just a few jabs, hits my left hook, and I remember thinking, "Thank fuck I've a good chin."
yeah,
See my life flash from my eyes. Spawn, did a lot of runs with George Groves when he was training for Goodneck. Uh, he was probably one of the biggest punchers in Spawn because he used to be very, very heavy in Spawn.
yeah.
Like he was
A
around the
lot of people
middle.
have said that.
So I was in the middle, he was super middle. I used to walk around like say maybe then 79 kilo. He
Yeah,
was fighting a 76 and a half, but he made him walking around 90 or
yeah,
more. So he was massive. You was born him, you had, you know,
yeah. I've had a
so,
few people. I've had heavyweights. I've had heavyweights that I've spoken to that have told me George Groves is the hardest puncher they've ever been in the ring with.
yeah. So not just that reason, but I thought that was a big part to playing it. So they're probably my two there, the answer those questions.
Yeah, right.
Oh
Good
yeah, and
or
you next, of course.
Hey, now listen. You don't have to throw me in there. Right. Good or bad. What's one corner instruction that you will never ever forget?
And good and bad.
Good or bad. Just one that sticks in your mind in the corner. What somebody said to you.
I can remember when I fought Keeler the second time, and I sort of underperformed the first time because not for no one's fault. I put a lot of weight on between the fight and the way in the fight. So the second time, even though he beat me the first time, I thought I'm gonna beat him. I was still wasn't like I was still very confident. Did a
Yeah,
good camp. Didn't put on loads of weight between the way in the fight, but I got um you have a choice to select gloves, buy gloves. So I bought Everlast Maxes, which are very very dangerous gloves, like the
yeah,
serious puncher gloves, like the
yeah,
horsehair. And went to the rules meeting with Pete Taylor. And I says, they pulled out the NTK Global gloves, and I says, oh, well, these here, and but the injury had a pair for your opponent if they wanted them also. So Pete Taylor puts the hand and says, no, we want these also, and I was like, fuck's sake. I knew
yeah,
the rules, you had our gloves for them in case they want them too. So that's cool. So go out the first round. You know, the plan then was the edge back now, going forward, and be more calculated, take my time, I can make mistakes. Anyway. Hits me a bit of a shot in the horse that caught first time badly caught in my whole career.
yeah,
9 inches above my couldn't see. So the game plan was the plan was to wait and make edge back and try and draw him on to me. Got caught. Then when you get caught, you sort of revert. My first time being caught in a big fight and
yeah.
all.
Panic
So
a little bit and just
you revert back to your bread and butter,
yeah,
hands up, put it on him. That's what I done. Was getting picked off, but couldn't see it to say. And Jimmy Moore says after like the fourth or fifth round, had lost 4 or 5 rounds. He says, I'm pulling you out. You know, you've lost every round and you can't see." I
yeah,
says, I'm fine." He says, "Many fingers you hold up," and I couldn't see this hand. I guessed four and it was four. She said,
yeah,
I said, "Four." I guess right. So you go. But in hindsight, probably should have stopped the fight now because it was stupid taking as a coach and a father and
yeah,
out healthy now. I think I'm healthy.
yeah,
See, you know, there's a time and a place to be brave, and
yeah.
then you're losing and you can't see against a very good fighter. And it's, yeah, me as a coach now, I'd say. But look,
Straight, pull him out. Yeah, straight away.
if he'd have stopped it, I'd have been angry. So I can't. I'm not blaming him
Yeah, of
whatsoever.
course, of course. Speaking of coaches, what separates a good coach from a bad coach, in your opinion?
Uh, Connection.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter how much how fancy you can hold the pads or how you know technical you can read a fighter or the give tactics you can give. I personally feel that the emotional connection you can have with a fighter will make you or break you. My father was my coach when I boxed for Ireland. I was one of the most highly ranked amateurs in the world. Hence
yeah,
the reason I get sought after by Barry McGuigan and be signed to side him back then. I was a very good amateur, boxing the World Series and stuff. Um, and I'm not saying he could have trained anyone to be, you know, world level,
but
but
you had
back
that
then
connection.
that connection, he knew how to get the best of me. He knew like if I was having a bad day, what to say to me if it was having a good day. Like some fighters respond better to different things. Like I didn't respond good to personally, like shouting, "Come on, you know, get
Yeah,
going."
I was
Some
the
fighters
same.
that
Yeah,
some fighters G's them up. That would have just that didn't work on me. So some
yeah,
fighters it does. So you have to as good as a good coach, not just a coach, a good coach. You have to work out what that fighter emotionally,
yeah,
what gets them going. Then the partner looks okay, son. That's pain is this switch on now or maybe they do like you know getting shit out and that G up. So that's where I feel you have to work out what gets them what in a certain scenario what way to approach it. That's what I feel.
yeah. I agree. Some fighters need an arm around them. Some need to kick up the arse, and it's
Yeah.
all about. It's the coach needs to work out
Like,
who.
like I hated the negative. I like positive. Even if I was having say a bad round, I still like positive. No, that's okay. Look, we put it behind us now. We're gonna have a good round now. You know that or no
Yeah,
stuff. And put that. See that shouting that it wasn't for me. It's I don't think it's a good way to approach it. Any fighter, but some fighters don't mind that. So it's each their own, I suppose.
yeah. I mean, Speaking of fighters, what's one mistake that fighters make outside of the ring?
I think they make money differently. I know personally things I done. If I live my life again, I do my career again, which I would do differently. Uh, Good question. I think like fighters, it's not like it's not a switch off. The fighters should be always, on it,
Yeah,
or thereabouts,
yeah,
living the life, staying around their weight, and waiting for
yeah.
that
That's
phone
a big
call.
one. That's a big
You
one.
know,
Yeah, that's a big one.
made the mistake a couple of times himself, but that's what's life. But that's as a coach, moving forward, I'll take that experience with me.
Yeah. Right. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna ask you the last question. Would you want your kids to box? If yes, then why? If no, then why not?
Well, I have two girls. I wouldn't want them to box, because it's a very lonely sport, and that's once again non-negative. Uh, I had an amazing career, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's a very lonely, unforgiving, hurtful sport. You get hurt physically, mentally, and emotionally. So for that
100%.
reason,
Yeah.
no. But in that sense, also it made me the man that I always wanted to be and needed to be. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Two girls most likely won't box. My little eldest girl's a real girly girl. She's got the lipstick. She's coming 5, and she now the other one. I call her Rambo. She's running
Yeah.
about the house in her nappy going, Daddy, douche, douche, douche. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Whatever they want to do, I'll support them. Hopefully it's
Yeah.
not boxing, but
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Listen, Conrad, I really appreciate having you on. It's been really good to catch up. I think you've given
likewise, bro.
some really, really insightful answers. It's been great to chat to you, and we'll stay in touch.
Likewise, bro. God bless.